Hello and welcome to a very special Royal Ascot Punters Guide as we look ahead to sadly the final day of the meeting. I'd like to say Tommo is alongside me here, and Tommo, Royal Ascot, it's what the summer's all about for flat racing fans, isn't it? It's been a fantastic week. We didn't see history on Thursday.
You did.
But it's still been a great week.
It's been absolutely incredible. The first 3 days, it was absolutely lovely. Yesterday, the ground changed and all that. So it's going to be fascinating to see what happens today. Obviously, the gun's going to be pretty testing. Of that, there's no doubt. But I think we're in for a good day.
Oh, fingers crossed. Let's try and point you in the direction of a few winners then. Starting with the Cheshireman, you mentioned the ground going to be testing. 2-year-olds over 7 furlongs in testing ground. Aidan O'Brien's won this 3 of the last 5 years. He saddles the likely favourite Point Lonsdale here. But I remember a couple of years ago, it was the boys in blue and the great Pinatubo who landed this race.
Exactly, and we know what Pinatubo went on, and I think you've got it right this race. I think these two stables will fight out the finish. Admittedly, they're the sort of two market leaders. Point Lonsdale absolutely hosed up by 5 lengths at the Curragh, first time out. Now, you don't win at the Curragh by 5 lengths unless you're a very, very good horse. So this has got to be one of their major chances of the whole week. Having said that, New Science is a lovely horse. Charlie Appleby's. I was at Yarmouth that day. Now, I know it's a long way from Yarmouth to Royal Ascot in terms of ability, but the way that horse won, and what was interesting is that Reach for the Moon, who finished second, which is the Royal Hope, owned by Her Majesty the Queen, is thought good enough to run in the race as well. So the form of that race could work out as well. There's another horse I like, a horse called Marsecla. That's the Andrew Balding horse. That one at Goodwood. Bit of a tip for that. It's between Point Lonsdale and New Science. I'll go for New Science. What are you going for?
Yeah, and Matakira's interesting. You mentioned a long way from Yarmouth to Royal Ascot, but Kamari did it this week.
True.
With the Queen's Vase. So yeah, Masakira, Shane Murphy's been talking this up as one of his chances of the week as well, and he's already had 2 winners. So I'll go Masakila.
All right.
You're with New Science.
I'm going to go for New Science, and Charlie Appleby's strike rate at the moment is superb. William Buick still going well. I think it'll be the boys in blue who'll win the first.
Let's move on then to the second of the afternoon. The Jersey Stakes here for the 305. Again, the boys in blue seem to lead the way. Creative Force unbeaten this season. And they've got Naval Crown, who's 4th in the Guineas. Mutasabet was behind him when fancied for that classic for Charles Hills. And then we've got the filly, Belosa. She's 2 from 2 at Newmarket.
I tell you what, I have a lot of time for Jane Chappell-Hyam. Her late mum used to be married to the late Robert Sangster. So, you know, she's absolutely top-class lady. I have a lot of time for her. And I think this horse could run a big race. The horse has done nothing wrong. 2 out of 2 is a decent sort of price. Yes, we'll have to improve, but I think that's the same for them all. There's plenty of other horses as well. Fundamental, that's got a good chance, I think. That was second to Belosa at Yarmouth last time out, and I think that's got a very, very good chance. But having said that, Charlie Appleby, the boys in blue, he's got the first 2 favourites. Interesting that William Buick has gone for Naval Crown, whereas Creative Force is unbeaten 3 out of 3. Jim Crowley rides a horse called Mutashabek. That was 7th in the 2000 Guineas as well. That obviously has a good chance. It's a good race. Are we going to take a chance with Belosa?
Maybe. She's done, like you say, she's done nothing wrong. She's very impressive on a debut. I mean, it's a great race. It's a Memento one at Epsom on Derby weekend on softening ground as well. So it's an absolute cracker renewal of the Jersey. It's just those horses that kind of fall between sprinting and the mile division, isn't it? This is the 7 furlong. It's just those horses that aren't quite up to the mile.
Agreed.
But not quick enough for the sprinters.
That's the beauty of the Jersey. You've got to get the trip, but you've got to have the speed. You've got to have a combination of everything. I love this race.
There we are then, Belosa for Tommo in that. We move on to the Hardwick Stakes then at 3:40 this afternoon. It's a race that Sir Michael Stout has farmed down the years. Tommo, he absolutely loves winning the Hardwick Stakes, and he's got highest ground here. He wasn't quite built on his early season promise, or his early promise as a youngster. Aidan O'Brien's got Broom here, who's been mopping up in small field Group 1s.
Broom has been mopping up.
Sweeping up.
Sweeping up. Hoping to clean up here is what you were going to say. Yeah, absolutely. Aidan O'Brien ran a 3 out of 4 this season, was beaten last time out. I think that's got a great chance. Hookham is a lovely horse. Jim Crowley rides in the blue and white of the late Sheikh Hamdan. He'll go on the ground, and he won at this meeting last year, won the King Edward VII, didn't he, last year, the Royal Ascot Derby. So he's a horse who likes running at the track. He won't be far away, but I'm getting a big tip for this horse called Ila Rab. Is that the way to pronounce
Il
it?
Arab.
Il Arab. William Haggis, Tom Marquand, the way he won at York. I like a horse who can win 6 out of 7. You know, it means he likes winning. You know, he's not going to second, third. It's a 1-1-1-1-1. And I think he'll be 1 after this race. And also, he's a decent price.
Certainly is, yeah. It's an absolute crack. I'm going to put a couple of fillies up. But Alba Flores, she was 4th in the Coronation Cup, but she won here very easily on soft ground 2 starts ago, beating Tribal Craft by 7 lengths, who's gone on to win the Bronte Stakes subsequently at York pretty well. So Alba Flores won, but how can we leave out Wonderful Tonight, Tommo? You Eric Clapton fans.
Well, I love it. That takes us back, but what a rocker from the locker. Wonderful Tonight. It's true. Wonderful Tonight could be. And there's also that lovely horse, Logician, running in this race. Frankie De Torre, riding for John and Thaddy Gosden. He's one of my favourite horses, without a doubt. You know, remember the St. Ledger and all that. And he is lovely. He had a problem at the end of back last year, needed the run on his reappearance. He's another who could play an important part. It's a great race.
He's absolutely cracky. Wonderful Tonight. She's a dual Group 1 heroine as well. I just thought she would be the leading player in the Hardwick Stakes. It doesn't get any easier though, because I've got the Diamond Jubilee, the Group 1 on the card on the final day of Royal Ascot. And this is built up to be a cracker as well. We've got Starman, who was so impressive at York. His only defeat though has come here at Ascot. Dream of Dreams, been runner-up a couple of times in this contest. Nahar chased home Starman at York. Art Power, who won here last year in the handicap, the 5 furlong handicap at the meeting. And Glen Shiel. Holly Doyle, could she be a Group 1 Royal Ascot winner? She won a Group 1 on Champions Day. Absolutely.
She is incredible, isn't she? Archie Watson's having a good season, not as brilliant as he had last season when he seemed to win with just about everything, but ultra consistent and a promising first time out. I'd love to see her win a Group 1. Wouldn't it be lovely, you know, and absolutely superb. I have a lot of time for her and her husband-to-be, Tom Marquand. And talking of Tom Marquand, I think he's got a good chance here because Tom rides a horse called Nahar for William Haggis, son-in-law of Lester Piggott. I give this horse a good chance. He was second to Starman. Starman, we know, is good. Ed Walker's horse. Obviously, probably going to take the beating with Oisin Murphy. But he was beaten on soft last year, which means that might not act on the ground. Nahar comes from a top stable, William Haggis. I think that's got a great chance. And as you mentioned, the Michael Stout trained horse, Dream of Dreams. I mean, the horse has been beaten in a photo in the last 2 runnings of this. If ever a horse deserves to win, it's Dream of Dreams. But I'm going for Nahar. What are you going for? I
was disappointed Glen Shiel's reappearance over in Ireland. Was disappointing, but well, no doubt will come on plenty. This will have been the target. He won over track and trip on soft ground on Champions Day, and it'd be great to see Holly Doyle. What a story that would be if she was to win a Group 1 at Royal Ascot. So fingers crossed for a bit of history in the Diamond Jubilee. Right, how about this one then, Tommo? The Wokingham. What a punter's puzzle this is. Kings Lynn back for more, second time this week. We've got Rohan, who they thought we were going to go in the Commonwealth Cup, but sadly he hasn't got his manhood, so he wasn't allowed to run in that. So David Evans has chosen to come here. What a revelation he's been. And you've been talking to Michael Dodds as well, haven't you? You've been talking to him about Pendleton, who won impressively at York.
That's the one I'm going to go for. I was most impressed. I went to Michael's stable just outside Darlington last week, and I tell you what, this horse looks really good. The horses look good. His horses are running well, and I love Pendleton. I think Pendleton's going to take the beating. Won at York on soft ground, remember that, has everything going for it. Callum Rodriguez is going to ride, and by Jove, if he could ride a big race winner at Royal Ascot, he'd be a very happy man. Having said that, David Evans sends Rohan up from Wales. We've got Kings Lynn representing Her Majesty the Queen with Ryan Moore on board. That could go well. Oh, it's a great race. But I love this horse, and I think he'll take the beating. Pendleton. Remember Victoria Pendleton? Yeah. She was pretty good.
Pretty speedy.
Oh, I tell you what, absolutely as tough as they come. And this horse, hopefully, will follow in the footprints and get the gold medal.
There you go then. So Pendleton for Tom. I've got to put up a couple. Punchball Flyer loves the mud. He won very impressively at Windsor a couple of starts ago. Then beat Bielsa at Haydock. He's up in the weights, but Eve Johnson Orton and Charles Bishop already off the mark this week. So that's one. And you know what? Drawn on the stand side where all the races have developed this week, Dan Zeno, he's ultra consistent. All right, he's not getting any younger, like all of us really. He's 10 years old now. He's off for quite a high mark, but Ray Dawson claims 3. He's so consistent and he loves to get his toe in. So he's got his ground. He might have the best of the draw on this stand as long as the rain hasn't muddied that, and he's been really consistent this season, an excellent apprentice on board.
And at the price, as you say, good each way.
Certainly is, yeah. In the Wokingham at 5 o'clock. Right, 2 more races to discuss then on a Super Saturday of action at Royal Ascot. We go with the Golden Gate Stakes next, where R. Fardell is your likely market leader for Roger Varian and Jim Crowley. Beat Sir Rumi by a couple of lengths at Lingfield, and he takes him on yet again. It's a really competitive 3-year-old handicap, Tommo.
Exactly, but there's a horse I like very much here. I could see Visualization running a big race. Joseph O'Brien trains this one, and we know how good he is. Now, this horse is very good. Won at the Curragh last time out on heavy, so there's no worries about the ground. There's no worry about the horse's ability. Trained by Joseph O'Brien, so got all the ticks in all the right boxes, and I like Visualization. But having said that, Roger Varian's horse, Alpha Del, has been working well. As you say, won at Lingfield, a nice horse. Fantastic Fox is a good horse, carries the blue and white colours of Leicester City Football Club, so the Leicester boys will be on that. What do you fancy?
Yeah, it's a real competitive renewal, isn't it, yet again? I actually was lucky enough to back the winner last year at a big price, but I was really taken with Sir Rumi. I know he's got work to do to turn that form around with Alpha Del, but he's £4 better off for a couple of lengths. And I was really taken with the way he travelled through his race and won at Haydock last time out. So at a big price each way, I'll go with Sir Rumi. And don't discount River Alwyn either. I'm a little bit worried about the ground. He was beating his only time on soft, but he has won on good to soft. But he travelled really well when winning, but with Jamie Spencer at Newmarket, and then third in the London Gold Cup last time, fourth in the London Gold Cup already this season as well, and a fair third last time out at Newbury. So yeah, I think he can go well at a big price.
We're always saying, aren't we, and rightly so, the ground can make the difference, and I agree entirely. But there's an old saying in racing that I heard very young when I was a young lad, only a couple of years ago now, and a good horse will go on any ground. Now, I know that's not the case, and we love firm and we love heavy and all that sort of stuff, but that is an old saying in racing. It's one of the first things I remember hearing when I was a young lad going to races. And if that's the case, if they're good enough, they can win on it.
Certainly, yeah. It's kind of an idea. There's no excuses,
exactly.
Isn't there, if they're good
exactly.
enough. Right, Tommo, the 35th and final race of the week is the longest race of the season, and it's going to be testing, isn't it? 2 3/4 miles on the flat for these runners. Soft ground, of course, at Ascot, and Falconet, your Chester Cup winner, could give Frankie, he could bookend the week with the winner and Palace Pier and the Queen Anne. He could take the finale with Falconet.
And trained by one of the greatest trainers of all time, Dermot Weld, who trains literally at the Curragh. His stables are behind the grandstand. It's one of the great places. If you ever get the chance, go to Dermot Well's. And nobody's allowed to raise their voice at Dermot Well's stable. They have to speak. There's nobody allowed to shout or anything. If you shout, hey, pass the, the hay bale or whatever, you're not allowed to shout. It's one of those beautiful places. And Dermot sent this horse, Frankie, on board. Yes, it's got to take the beating. But I have one to beat it. I think a horse called Staghorn. Archie Watson, Holly Doyle will love the ground, a real good stayer, and that's what you've got to be to get the trip. And I love this horse, Staghorn. And I tell you what, should be a good price. I don't know what price it is. It's nearly double figures, 8 or 10 to 1.
Bad,
So tremendous each way. Holly Doyle in the yellow and blue colours. I think that just might beat the favourite.
Yeah, could easily do. Staghorn was certainly in my reckoning as well. There's won a couple on the soft ground and heavy ground easily at Pontefract. That's one of the stiffest tracks in the country, Pontefract, so he should stay. And this is Who Dares Wins beat the Grand Vizier in this last year, but I think this is a much deeper renewal, a much better race 12 months on.
Mildenberger is in with a chance as well after Mark Johnson's brilliant win in the Gold Cup. That for me was the highlight of the week. It was absolutely superb, and I loved when the jockeys came out and applauded Joe Fanning coming back in. That to me was what racing is all about. Well done, Joe. Well done, Mark. And Mildenberger, I think, has got a great chance. Franny Norton, what is he, 50 years of age? He's nearly as old as Frankie De Torre, much older than you and I, of course. And I think that has got a good chance, a good each way. Mildenberger, we know that they'll stay all day.
Yeah, certainly will. So there's the final day Royal Ascot looked at then, courtesy of Tommo. Last job, Tommo, is to give the punters what your idea of a best bet is. Of the 7 that we've picked out, which is the one horse that you think punters can latch onto this Saturday and maybe pay for their weekend?
They're all good, but if you did say what was the best one, I think we'll save it to the end. Staghorn, and then if the first 6 get beat, they'll say, well, the best one is still to come. So be patient, have a good day, and enjoy.
There we are then, the Royal Ascot. What a week it has been. Fingers crossed for a few winners on the final day. Fingers crossed for Staghorn in the lucky at last. Thanks for watching. Whenever you're back in there this weekend at Royal Ascot or in the Euros or whatever it may be, please gamble responsibly.
Hear, hear.